dispensed with.
Without objection, the reading of the amendment is dispensed with, and the gentleman is recognized for remarks on his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, instead of focusing on investing in affordable housing and modernizing our transportation systems that power our economy, this bill includes several harmful, controversial policy riders that have no place in this bill. It limits our ability to address the accelerating threat of climate change, despite clear evidence that the wildfire smoke, life-threatening heat waves, and extreme weather we face daily in this country can be remediated by addressing greenhouse gas emissions. It includes an anti-DEI agenda into an infrastructure bill, blocking implementation of President Biden's executive orders on environmental justice, DEI in the federal workforce, and protections for youth in schools and housing. I don't know why some of my colleagues would stand in the way of efforts to ensure federal funding reaches the underserved communities in their own districts. I have said time and time again, Mr. Chairman, that one of the reasons years ago I offered, and this committee accepted, a funding formula that we called 10-20-30. That formula simply says that we should direct at least 10% of all the money that's being appropriated in this particular section into those communities where 20% or more of the population has been stuck beneath the poverty level for the last 30 years. The Census Bureau has defined these communities as persistent poverty communities where we should direct funds. And what that simply means is that we will fund communities that are in need. And I've said before, and I want to reemphasize here today, that 2/3 of the counties in this country that fall into that category are represented by Republican members of this body. 2/3. So this is not anything partisan. This is all about recognizing that we ought to be directing our resources in communities of needs. I've also talked about the experiences that many of World War II veterans had coming back home and not being allowed to participate in the GI Bill. In fact, I cited one statistic here. In the state of Mississippi, the first 3,600 GI bills for housing granted to soldiers. Of that, only 2, not 2%, only 2 went to people of color. And that's what all of these environmental justice issues, the DEI, directed at trying to correct that problem. We are a great country. This country is not made great because all of our enlightenment is made great because we've always been able to repair our faults, barring from Alexis de Tocqueville in making that statement. So what we want to do here is fund our nation's needs, and when we can find ways to do it, repair some of the faults that we've had in our great country. That's what makes us great, repairing these faults. So this amendment would strike these harmful restrictions, these controversial riders, and these partisan attacks on critical programs, and I hope we can all agree that that is not necessary in a THUD bill. I urge your support for this amendment, and yield back the balance of my time.
I thank the gentleman. The gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Womack, is recognized to respond to the amendment.
I thank the chairman, and respectfully, I'll channel my inner Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friend. I'm proud of the policy riders that we have in this base bill. And frankly, they can be broken down into 3 categories. First, Our bill upholds a rule of law. This amendment would allow local governments to continue failed sanctuary city policies without any negative repercussions and even use federal dollars for the housing of illegal immigrants. This amendment would do that. Second, our bill scales back federal government overreach and removes unnecessary burdens from the U.S. economy. Whether it be burdensome policies impinging on privacy, placing speed limiters on large vehicles, or directions from Washington on how local and state governments handle evictions, my friends on the other side would rather overregulate than join Republicans in finding what I believe are common sense solutions. And I think that's what the majority of the electorate decided back in November, a year ago. Third, our bill puts an end to wasteful spending. Through this amendment, Democrats are proposing to funnel billions of dollars into failed boondoggle, high-speed, and inner-city rail projects where costs and timelines are never ending. So for these reasons, I would urge a no vote respectfully on this amendment, and I yield back my time.
Thanks, gentlemen. Are there other members wishing to address the amendment? Seeing none, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute to close.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to say once again how much I appreciate the good work of the chairman of our subcommittee. I have a great deal of admiration and respect for him. However, I will call his attention to the fact that when we have elections in this country, we don't make those elections by popular vote. We may participate in the popular way, but there's something called the Electoral College that allows for the election of a president without a majority of the vote. And that's happened very often in this country. So it all depends on where you get the votes from. That depends whether or not you get a majority in the Electoral College. And remember, the Electoral College was a compromise based on race. Are you back?
Thank the gentleman. The question is now on the amendment offered by the gentleman from South Carolina. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The opinion of the chair, the noes have it. And the amendment is not adopted.